So, welcome back, everyone. I got a newbie with me. I like having my newbies on with me. Come right up to that mic.
All right.
My next guest, I should say, is Jörg Eichmann, and he is the president of Swiss American Financial Solutions. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You're an author. You've wrote the foreword for several books, and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I've been in the U.S. now for 25 years. I was actually originally born in Switzerland. So I spent
That's
half
cool.
of my...
I don't think I've met anybody from Switzerland.
Oh, very good. So there we are. First time, every time. So I spent about half of my life in Switzerland and the other half now here. In fact, I just celebrated my 25th anniversary here. That was really great.
Congratulations.
And, things have changed, and here now with my company, essentially my clients became my family because the rest of my family are back in Europe. So
Sure, you know what?
Changed.
That is so very true when that happens like that. And I love that you said that. Now, you've been doing this for how long?
A little over 12 years.
So 12 years in this business, and you've wrote the foreword for a couple of books. So we're going to be opening up the lines of the audience for people to get entered in to win. You've got 5 people that are going to win. There's 2 different ones,
Sure.
and they're completely, well, they're different, but they work the same in a sense, right? Well, so one of them is bad advisors, how to identify them and how to avoid them. I love that. I love it. And the other book is called Peace of Mind Planning. And that one is no longer an option. Losing money is no longer an option, and which you're so right. So talk about the book. So that's what we'll talk about. The bad advisors first, okay?
Okay.
Because you're one.
Yeah, that's true. And I read this book actually on my way to a convention in Cincinnati, out of all places. And I couldn't put that book down. So I read that whole book in like a 5-hour flight plus waiting, in airports and stuff. And I found it fascinating. And the gentleman who wrote it, Rocky DeFrancesco, he is a consumer pitbull advocate, as we call him, because he really is out there just to reprimand financial advisors like us and tell us, hey, you can't do this, you should do that, be careful, pay attention to this and that. And his book really puts a little bit of an x-ray behind the curtain of what's going on in the financial industry. And there are so many things that you will learn when you read this book that you will never ever hear from your financial advisor, or broker, or banker. That's just not happening because those are kind of like best kept secrets.
Right. Now, with you and your firm, that you have now sort of, would you say, modeled your firm after what he says to do? Or be?
Well, if I was proud enough to realize that pretty much everything he laid out in the book is how we conduct ourselves when we do business as fiduciaries with our clients. So that was one of the reasons why I was approached then by Rocky to ask, hey, why don't you write the foreword to it? And he looks at all the advisors that he works with, and if he thinks that they are, worth working with, then we become
that's
part
awesome.
of his network.
Congratulations to
Well,
that.
thank you
So
very
you
much.
wrote the foreword. We've got each book. You can have each one of them, or you can pick which one you want. This particular book that we're talking about, it's Bad Advisors. How to identify them and how to avoid them. So our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. The other book is called Peace of Mind Planning. It's Losing Money is No Longer an Option. So talk about that one.
Well, imagine you were in the 1970s and you could fast forward the plane that you flew in the 1970s to today. Would you get on that plane today?
No.
Would you get on it? See, so that's kind of like how we look at the financial industry. And this book really covers that whole aspect very well, from how we went from working with obsolete, modern portfolio theory, basics to what we do today. I mean, we have flash crashes, right? I mean, look just the difference 2 months make alone, right? When we talked 2 months ago, there was no coronavirus.
Right.
Life was totally normal. Now it's totally different. So,
Right. Life changes on a dime.
Life changes on a dime, and this is kind of like what this book covers. It shows you that you have to have an open mind for every financial tool that there is out there. You can't just go with an old obsolete theory and think you could stick with that for the rest of your life.
Now, again, we've got our lines open here, and everyone's getting entered in. He's got 5 of them, and you can do 5 of whichever one you want or however you want to do it, but we've got 5 of them each that we're giving away. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll-free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Now let's go into you a little bit, okay? First of all, when you work with people, you do free consultations.
Correct.
And you work nationwide, you said.
Correct.
Okay, you all have offices that are in Glendale, Arrowhead, Scottsdale, but also throughout other states.
Correct.
So you're all over. Your website is SwissAmericanFinancial.com. And your phone number to call direct is 602-703-6611. One thing I have to say about your business is it's a relationship-based business. So they do kind of get to know you, okay? And for you, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that you brought up, but I want to know what you would say that you would call it is about yourself that's different than most other advisors.
Well, let's start with what I noticed whenever I go to these conventions and I talk to other advisors. We're incredibly lucky in that when we started 12 years ago, we still have the exact same clients. We never ever lost a client. I can honestly say that here, unless they moved away, obviously, or passed away. But our clients really become our family. What I said earlier really is the truth. We have lots of gatherings throughout the year, which is something I'm missing right now. Usually in April, we have a big gathering with 150, 200 people in our own house, in our own yard, and having a good time with them. And that's not possible, obviously, this year, probably. So they kind of become my family. And
Right.
I want them to call when they make financial decisions, because so much depends on, withdrawing the funds from the right source. If you don't do that, you might get your Social Security benefit taxed up to 85%. It might be taxed at your effective marginal
Right.
rate. So that's just so important, and I want clients to actually make us part of their life as well. So we talked earlier about being salespeople. Anyone can sell you something, but people always remember you for the solutions you provide. They will never forget you for that.
I also think too that with this virus that it has caused such a change
Yeah.
with everything.
So true.
Do you also do second opinions?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to.
That's absolutely, you have to have that. It doesn't cost anything to look at other things, right? When we go on a cruise or on a vacation, we don't book the first airline, we'll look at all of them.
Right.
I just don't understand why so many people think they have a loyalty to everybody else except for themselves. You should have a loyalty to yourself, to your nest egg that you actually worked on and now harvested for the rest of your entire life, and now you think you should just stick to the same thing you've done forever and ever. At least give it a second or a third
Right.
opinion.
Absolutely.
In order to make sure that you are exactly allocated the way you're supposed to.
I also like the book that you wrote, both of these forewords, but there's a lot of people out there that I think should read this, the bad
Couldn't
advisor
agree
ones,
more.
because right away
Yeah.
you'll know, is your advisor following all of the rules and being up to snuff? This book is written by, and you can't say the name for me.
Rocky DeFrancesco.
Okay, thanks. But you wrote the foreword to it. He actually asked you to do that, which was really neat. And we've got our lines open here for everyone. I think everyone should have the book. It's Bad Advisors, How to Identify Them and How to Avoid Them. Our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. The other book is Peace of Mind Planning. Again, you wrote the foreword to this one. It's Losing Money is No Longer an Option, and it isn't an option. Nobody ever wants to lose the money. And we've got 5 people each that are gonna win the book. So we've got our numbers here at 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. I'm going to go to this one, the second one first, because we only have a couple of minutes
Sure.
here. Why is it important for people to know their numbers?
Well, it's very important because, again, it really affects you. If you withdraw funds from the wrong source, it affects everything, right? What does it do for you if you make a 5% higher return, but that then return actually increases your taxes to the point where your higher return is actually a lower return because you're paying an exorbitant amount of taxes.
Right now, a lot of people don't want to look at their numbers
No.
at all. They don't even want to open it up. I know my ex-mother-in-law, no, she won't even open it up. And I'm not sure, I've heard people say, don't look at it right now. That seems like a crazy thing to say, because I think
Yeah.
you should by now be looking at every little thing even more so. What do you think?
No, you're absolutely right, and that's exactly what happened in 2008 and 2009. People didn't look at it. They didn't make any changes because they thought, they were always told, just wait, it's always coming back.
Right.
That's true, but if you don't have 10 years to wait on withdrawing funds from that specific source, you might be in big trouble.
Now, the phone number to call him direct, he does free consultations and works nationwide, is 602-703-6611. His website is SwissAmericanFinancial.com. He does free consultations. We've got our lines open up for everyone to win these books. Our number here, 602-277-5369. How do you like it?
Great.
So do you see
Yeah.
how you can go more narrow and deep
Sure.
easily?
Yeah.
Like right now it's all over,
Yeah.
like you could talk
Oh,
about
absolutely.
one subject,
Yes.
right? And we'll talk about that afterwards, but that's what I like to do.
Great.
It could be that you wanna talk about, Social Security, or like you said, there's like, right now, especially with what's happening, where do we
Yes.
take our money out, what, things like that,
Correct.
more narrow and deep.
Yep. No, that's definitely something that we should talk about.
Yeah.
By the way, there's also a .net for the same website,
Oh,
and you can download all the books on the like an ebook form.
okay,
There's about 7 or 8 books on there,
okay,
possible as well.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, I really believe that with certain people, that shows,
Yeah.
you could easily do
Yeah,
it.
I love to do
I
it,
mean, yeah, and I'll tell you what I
Talk
mean
about
when
it.
we're done, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it different than what you used to?
Yeah, it like you said, it's always different.
It's different, and
Every
plus you're doing it
person,
with
you go in the
me,
studio,
yeah.
yeah, it's very different. And
The people that stay on, I mean, Ted wanted his own show. Originally, Ted Watkins wanted his own show, and he originally called me just to say, "What's it like to have your own show?" And I go, well, come on in, see how
Right.
you like it, right? Anyway, he ended up staying, and most people that stay long like that are because they don't want to have to produce a show, so
Yeah.
they just come in, and it's much easier.
I
you know?
agree. And
Yeah.
it's great if somebody
It's
asks
just
you the
different,
questions. I do
exactly.
prefer
It's
that.
it's a little bit different, and it's you still have control because
Mhm.
you're telling me what to do, but at the same time, it's kind of fun to have somebody who's. I'm also thinking for them as well,
Mhm.
and I'll come up with some question like the second opinion type of thing,
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, that's excellent point.
But having your own is cool too.
Mm.
I don't know what's going on. Steven said that he sent me the ad that was for the Mesa Naturopathic ad, and I don't have it. And I asked him to, I don't have it. I don't think that they're getting the one that I sent to Steve. For the, I don't under, something's going on, and I don't know
Yeah.
what I should do. It's not. I don't think it's my email.
Hang on, please.
Huh?
We can look after.
Okay. I'm glad I mentioned it to you because I figured you'd probably know. You ready for me?
Yep, I am. Absolutely.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Jörg Eichmann, and he is the president of Swiss American Financial Solutions. He is also he wrote, I don't call you the, how do I call you? He wrote the foreword.
Just wrote a foreword,
Wrote
yeah.
the foreword for
Rocket
these
from
two
Disco
books that we're
is the
talking
author.
about there, which is Peace of Mind Planning, and that is losing money is no longer an option, which is so true. And also bad advisors, how to identify them and how to avoid them. And our number here, 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Anyone right now, I think that has any money in the market, I think anybody that is, thinking about retiring or where you're at with your 401ks, or if you don't have one, whatever, should have these books.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And you should just read them. And I know it's not like a little bit of a mystery or anything, but actually these are things that people really should get. And what I love about my show the most, and I say it all the time, and I know people probably get sick of it, but it's so true, it's information.
Yeah.
And this is stuff that's really good information, and maybe it's you or someone that you know. This is where you can call in and get this book. Right now we have them, people are getting them for free. We have 5 of them that we're giving away, either one. And you can call in here, and if it's not for you, give it to them. Maybe you have your parents that are not looking at their numbers. That's from perfect person,
Yes.
right? Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Just to get more information about you. Again, you do free consultations with everyone. You work nationwide. You do have offices here in Glendale, Arrowhead, Scottsdale, and other states as well. Your website is SwissAmericanFinancial.com. You can also go to .net either way. You can even download a couple of the books there. I like to have them in my hand. I love that kind of a feeling of that. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Okay, so we were talking about the importance of numbers. Why do CPAs not cooperate with financial advisors?
Well, there are some of them that do, but what we hear all the time, and that's usually also how we acquire new clients, is we provide information in webinars and seminars and show them actually that there is that discrepancy or that disconnect between the CPA and the financial advisor. Because the financial advisor usually gets asked, well, if I take money out from certain investments, what effect's that going to have on my taxes? And then usually the advisor says, well, go and ask your CPA. Well, the CPA usually doesn't have the information like, what was the base price of the investment, what were the gains, whatever. So then the CPA says, you really have to ask your financial advisor.
So then you're going back and forth.
It's a merry-go-round. Yeah, it never stops. So we found that creating a network where you can tie everything together, where they can only go to one place, figure out anything that affects their taxation or Social Security benefits, should be available to them right away as a result. So I'll give you a quick example. This is really something that just happened, and if the gentleman listens, one of our clients, he will recognize who he is. They moved down here from another state, and they called me one day, said like, hey, Jörg, I want to buy this truck here, and it's $72,000, but I can get it for $66,000 if I pay cash. What happens if I withdraw this from my IRA account? So we put this into our special software that we're using that ties everything together. We put in his withdrawals, combined that with all his other withdrawals, ran it through our tax software, and I said, well, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the bottom line is if you pay that cash, it will actually affect your IRA taxation, it will affect your Social Security benefit taxation. So the increase on your taxes will be $17,000. So this 5-minute phone call told our client that, okay, I shouldn't pay cash for that card because it has a huge consequence on it, and he went and financed the card.
You know, it's a great point that you made, and a lot of people right now are out there trying to buy cars because it's right now it's a great
Good
time
time,
because
yeah.
of that. They're given such great deals. And some people might have even gotten a gift, let's say, from their inheritance, and might have thought about paying cash for a car. You're saying sometimes that's not such a good idea to do. If it just depends on where you're at, and everybody has a different story.
Correct.
Right, so
Yep.
they have to really get in contact with you.
Yeah.
But what I heard from you is that you use a special software that actually can tell them that answer, and you actually work hand in hand with the people that do that. You work with their CPAs. How does that work?
Well, there's actually, we have a full financial network, so we have CPAs in our network.
So
we
it's
have
all done
plan
with you.
creators, everything. But we have a handful of different softwares that we're using that are all working in combination with each other. So essentially, at the end of the day, all our clients are going to get a financial blueprint where every one of their assets, whether it's real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, life insurances, annuities, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. We list it all there. We want to make sure that the non-qualified versus qualified, so IRA or actually after-tax money, is separated correctly, and then the client can see exactly where all their money is. They can sometimes make their own decisions of where they think they want to take the withdrawal and just call in and say like, hey, what do you think? What's the tax effect? We can run our tax software and we know exactly what the effect is going to
Now,
be.
his number again, direct at 602-703-6611. His website is SwissAmericanFinancial.com. He does free consultations and works nationwide. And we've got our lines open here where he wrote the forwards to these books. Here, one of them is Peace of Mind Planning. It's losing money no longer is an option. And our number here is 602-277-5369. You can also get the book Bad Advisors, How to Identify Them and How to Avoid Them. Again, he wrote the foreword for these books. And you know, Rocky actually asked you to write it because he must have, how did you get in touch with Rocky to make that happen?
He was actually in a financial network that we sent our clients to handle their assets under management. So I met him through that network about 7-8 years ago, and I've been working with him ever since.
That's pretty neat. Again, we've got our lines open here, and 5 people are going to win. We've got either 5 of the either books, whatever you want to do. 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. How does not looking at your numbers and all of this affect people who are planning or ready to retire?
Well, it's absolutely very important. The 10 years before and after retirement are the most important ones, because what we just saw again in the last 2 months with what happened to it, right? That was so dramatic. 2008 was so traumatic. There were so many people that we saw in 2008 that retired, and 2 years later we saw them again somewhere in the Safeway actually bagging groceries. I mean,
I know.
It's been pretty amazing, and we don't want to see that again. So if you do this correctly, you have some kind of stop loss mechanism throughout all your assets. And again, if it takes 10 years to recover from a potential loss, right? If that 40%, we're staying at 40% down, right? It will take you probably 6 or 7 years until you get your money back, assuming that you won't touch that money until that time.
Right.
Who can afford that?
And who knows that you're going to touch it? You know you're going to touch it. We all do,
Of
right?
course, yes.
And we all
Yep,
do.
yep.
What would be for you, we only have a couple of minutes here, that you would say to your, that's the most important reason why to, let's say, start working with someone like you?
Well, I noticed over the years and speaking to thousands of people that I have never met anyone who can actually identify and simply explain to me how the progressive tax system works and what the provisional income is, which is the income the IRS actually uses in order to find out how much of your Social Security benefit is being taxed, right? If you're a couple making over $44,000, every dollar above that you've taken out of NIRA can turn $1 into $1.85 of taxable income, because now 85% of your Social Security benefits are also being taxed. So that is the most important thing. Wouldn't you want to know once you retire, or even if you're retired, how much of my Social Security benefits are taxed?
Right, absolutely. But and I don't know if I've ever actually even heard about that. But and again,
There
you
you go.
said it right there. And that's why he's here. That's why he wants to let you guys know that this is one of the reasons why you should give him a call. Second opinion, so important,
Absolutely.
you guys. The number to call him direct is 602-703-6611. He does free consultations, works nationwide. He has offices in Glendale, Arrowhead, Scottsdale, throughout the states. He's got some there as well. The website is SwissAmericanFinancial.com. You can also go to .net, and you might be able to find some of these books there as well to download. But we've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win, and I believe everyone should have them, whether it's the bad advisors and how to find out what they're doing, or the peace of mind. Our number here is 602-277-5369.